case of cancer is a tragedy, and I'm concerned by the data showing that these tragedies disproportionately affect Iowans.
Governor Reynolds made those remarks during her Condition of the State address earlier this year at the Iowa State House. At that time, our state had the second highest rate in the country for new cancer cases 2 years in a row.
It's now 3 years running, according to the latest Cancer in Iowa report released today. KCCI investigates why a growing number of Iowans are hearing the words, "You have cancer," every year.
I've got Hartley and Hazley and Huxton and then Ellie.
If you want to see Lisa Beislein light up, ask her about her grandkids.
They're truly what just keeps me going.
But she won't shy away from talking about what almost took her away from them.
It's heartbreaking because they don't know what cancer is.
It was
December 26th of 2019.
The day after Christmas. Beislein was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
And I just sat there and said, I have lung cancer? I have lung cancer?
She says the diagnosis was even more shocking because
I have no family history of lung cancer. I did not smoke, and there is no radon in my home or any of the homes that I grew up in.
5 years later, Beislein is still fighting both the cancer.
It's just being contained by that medication.
And to learn the why.
I really felt there has to be a reason. Why me? And I'm not a just sit back and just let it happen. And so this is part of the way I fight it.
Last year, an estimated 2,700 people in our state were faced with a diagnosis like Beislein's, lung cancer. And a total of 21,000 Iowans were told they had some form of the disease. That's more than 57 people a day and 3,600 more than 10 years ago.
That's the what of this problem. The why and the how are where things get tricky.
The governor, whose husband is one of the tens of thousands of Iowans living with the disease, addressed one of the potential reasons for the mounting cases during the Condition of the State.
According to the Iowa Cancer Registry, we're in the top 5 states for binge drinking. We're also among the top for alcohol-related cancers.
We're second in the nation. That's not hyperbole. That is a statement of fact.
Renowned oncologist and medical director of Mercy One Cancer Center, Dr. Richard Deming, points to 2 other culprits.
The 2 things about Iowa that really stand out to me as being different than the other states is radon and ag chemicals.
The American Lung Association says radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas, is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. According to the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services, our state has the largest percentage of homes at or above the EPA's action level of 4 picocuries per liter of air.
It's not going to be shocking to learn that radon may also increase the risk of other types of cancers.
As for farming chemicals,
we're all getting exposed to it.
According to the USDA, in 2023, farmland made up 30 million acres in Iowa, blanketing 85% of our state.
The insecticides, herbicides, pesticides, fertilizers all go through the land and run off into the streams, into the rivers, into the water supply.
Do you feel that the state of Iowa is doing enough to try to get their hands around this problem?
No, I think we're making some steps. So the governor in the State of the State address did commit to $1 million for cancer research. So about 32 states in the country do fund cancer research. Up until now, Iowa's not been one of them, but this is a good first step.
They have one in their house.
Beislein just asks every stakeholder to put themselves in her shoes.
Who do they know that has cancer? They would probably be able to identify someone that they know, and then you have to consider, how much is that life worth?
She knows who she's trying to protect.
Research has got to be funded. I don't want my children or my grandchildren to have to go through this.
Even in her darkest moments.
I call them my black days. The days when you are so mad at life, you know, and that this is what has happened to you, and the future that you might not get to see.
she could rely on them to help get her through. And at today's press conference revealing the 2025 Cancer in Iowa report, the state medical director of the Iowa HHS said they are in the very early steps of putting a plan together to investigate risk factors, but are waiting for funding to be approved by the legislature.